It wasn't easy, but the Tigers beat the Trojans and advanced to the Super Regionals. It's Locked on LSU. Here we go.
You are Locked on LSU, your daily podcast on the LSU Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Okay, let's get it. It is Locked on LSU, your team every day. I'm your host, Matt Moscona. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. We are free, available wherever you get podcasts. Of course, on YouTube as well, so please subscribe. As always, one of the fastest ways to help us grow is by leaving your comments below, so thank you sincerely for that. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. All right, y'all, the Tigers get it done. LSU beats Little Rock 10-6. This was not easy. Zach Cowan got the ball, as we kind of suggested yesterday might happen. A guy who had started all year a season ago at Wofford. Casan Evans made 3 starts for LSU this season, was very good against Tennessee, not so great in the starts against Arkansas and Texas A&M. And so we had seen him kind of go back to that bullpen role. In the end, Cowan was not very good, and Evans was magnificent. Casan Evans, Luis Hernandez, Ethan Frey were all outstanding, and they saved your season. On a day where you found yourself down 5-1 and looking like you were dead in the water. All the bad vibes, all the bad juju, all the bad everything that everyone feared could happen in a one-game win or go-home scenario was staring you right in the face after Little Rock put up a 5 spot in the second. But LSU kept plugging away, and they were able to get going offensively because Casan Evans went out and threw up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight zeros from the third through the 7th. At one stretch, Evans struck out 9 consecutive hitters. He came into the game in the second, starting with the second and third outs of the fourth. In the fourth, they went single ground out, strikeout. Then he struck out the side in the 5th, struck out the side in the 6th. And then in the 7th, got a leadoff strikeout there, and then ran into trouble. We can talk about the decisions Jay made, which I want to get into as we talk about the game, continuing to stick with Evans despite wobbling there in the 7th and then going back to him in the 8th. Do you want to talk about how the offense ultimately got going? I do want to talk about the lineup change as well, but let's start by highlighting those that deserve to be highlighted. Casan Evans, 6 innings pitched, 1 run, 4 hits, 12 strikeouts, walked 3. Of course, that was walking the bases loaded in the 7th inning, which he was able to get out of, thank God, with a strikeout. But Casan Evans was absolutely spectacular. Jay did shuffle the lineup. I know a lot of y'all asked yesterday if they might move Bear Jones down. They did. Fry went up to the 2-hole. Jones went down to the 6-hole. Stanfield went from 9 to 7. That pushed Hernandez to 8. Braswell went down to the 9-hole. And Braswell only had 1 at-bat in this ball game. He grounded out, and then the next time up, they pinch hit for him with Ashton Larson. Tanner Reeves took over at third. Reeves was 0-for-3 in the ball game with a strikeout. He did hit 2 balls very hard to center field. The center fielder, forgive me, I don't know his name. I want to give him his flowers. Henry, I don't know his first name. Forgive me, but Henry, the center fielder from Little Rock, was absolutely outstanding in this ball game. We'll go through the game, but he saved 2 runs in particular, which we'll go through in a second. A couple of the decisions here, obviously. No, let me not go out of order. I want to give praise where it's due. We started with Casan Evans, who deserves just a ton of praise for the awesome job he did. Ethan Frey was absolutely unconscious. He got on base all 6 plate appearances, 4 for 4 and 2 walks. He homered. He doubled twice. And the biggest blow, we can talk about the homer in the first inning, but the biggest blow was in the 4th inning. when you had the bases loaded and he hit the bases clearing RBI double, because that was at a moment where you gave up the 5 spot. You're feeling as low as possible. You had the bases loaded in the 3rd, and Jake Brown flew out. And it just felt like completely deflating. Casan Evans got you a quick 3rd, fly out, strikeout, ground out, 3 up, 3 down. You're back in the dugout. Jones leads off the 4th with a single. And that felt so massive. The crowd erupted. It felt like a weight off of Jared Jones's shoulder when he got that single. And then you ground into a fielder's choice. You had the fly out. So after Jones' single, 2 quick outs, that's when they pinch hit for Larson, for Braswell. Larson draws the walk. After a wild pitch, another walk, the bases are loaded, and that's when Ethan Frey came up with the bases clearing double to pull you within 5-4. It was, and by the way, after the double to pull within 5-4, remember, you've got Frey at second base, and this is one of the plays that center fielder Henry made. The next hitter was Dickinson, who hit the ball to the wall in left center, and the center fielder went and made the catch against the wall. If he doesn't make that play, it's a tie ball game there in the 4th. And you're still batting because that's an extra base hit for Dickinson, and then Brown's up with a runner in scoring position. But that the center fielder made an amazing play there. He also made an amazing play in the top of the 2nd on Stanfield's fly out to center field because you had a runner on base in that situation as well. Forgive me, let me just tell you, it was Brown. So it was Brown who singled to lead off the inning, and we saw it 2 nights ago when Brown got hit by a pitch. He scored from first on a double. Like, Brown's the fastest guy on the team. So the center fielder saved a run in the 2nd when he robbed Stanfield, and he saved a run in the 4th when he robbed. Well, I should say Rob just made a beautiful catch. He robbed Dickinson. I mean, that was the one where he went airborne against the wall. It was wild. Anyway, hat tip to the center fielder, but more so Casan Evans, Ethan Frey, and Luis Hernandez. Hernandez in this ball game, when you absolutely had to have it, was so good. Not only was he good behind the plate, but he was 3 for 5 with 2 homers, 3 RBI in the game. Massive to come up with the home run, the solo shot in the 6th, which tied it, because remember, in the 6th inning, Stanfield leads off. He's got the 3-0 count, and they had put Jackson Wells in at that point. So their ace is in the game. 3-0 count Stanfield. Wells comes back to get the strikeout. So it's deflating. You're still down a run. The first pitch of the AB, Hernandez, boom, homer. And just like that, it's a tie ball game. Center fielder made another great play against Larson on the next AB. But anyway, that guy was unconscious. And then obviously he gave you the lead. I'm sorry, he extended your lead 7-5 with the home run in the top of the 8th. So Hernandez was awesome in this game as well. Those guys, I think, are the 3. And there was a lot of heroes in this game. But those 3, Evans, Frey, Hernandez, are the 3 that we have to highlight and start with the way that they played in this ballgame. Unbelievable performance by those guys. Thank you so much for being with us. There's almost 2,000 people watching, which is amazing. I'm flattered by that. I love you all so much. I mean, it's midnight. It's freaking midnight on a Monday night, Tuesday morning. This is why LSU baseball is different. I've said it all year. If you're an everydayer and you've been with us, I love you and shout out to you. But you understand, this is why LSU baseball is different. There's not another program in the country where someone's doing a live stream at midnight on a Monday night, Tuesday morning, where there's 1,800 people watching live. So I love you all. Let me do this. Quick break, come back. I want to go through the game because I have a bunch of takeaways. I wanted to start by highlighting those 3 performances, but there's a bunch of other stuff I want to get to from this game. And yes, we are going to give you a first look at West Virginia. So stay with us right here. I'm glad you're here. It is Locked on LSU, your team every day. You ever look at your bank account and wonder, where'd all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track your accounts, investments, and spending in one place so you stop just managing your money and you start building wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check out your finances. You can track spending. You can plan long-term goals, and managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. Okay, I want to get into my takeaways. Let's start with the lineup change. And hat tip, a lot of you asked yesterday if this is something they should consider. I said no, and the reason is I want Jones in the lineup because Jones can do what he did in the ninth. And maybe this is a product of me watching a lot of Major League Baseball because that's what Major League Baseball has become. I say it all the time. You'll take a guy who goes 1 for 5 with 4 strikeouts if the one is a 3-run homer. That's just the nature of the game today. And you're seeing a lot of that infiltrated into college ball. And you saw it with Jared Jones. He had the single in the 4th, and then he had the big homer in the 9th. So which gave you the breathing room. I'm certain that was a weight off of his shoulders, but it's why you want Jones in the lineup. Now, the decision to move him down clearly paid off. Frey was in a run-producing situation. In the second, he went 4 for 4, and he walked twice. And then Jones, maybe with a little less pressure on him, came up with a single in the 4th. He did have an ugly strikeout in the... I think Jones struck out in the 7th. Hang on. I just want to make sure I have this right. Who struck out to end the 7th? It was Jones. Yeah. Jones struck out with the bases loaded to end the 7th. So twice you had the bases loaded and didn't come through. In the 3rd where Brown flew out, and in the 7th where Jones struck out. No, and then no, sorry. It was Dickinson. Sorry. It was Dickinson in the 8th who struck out with the bases loaded. Evans got a strikeout with the bases loaded in the bottom 7th. My apologies. You did it. Jones did end the 7th on a strikeout, but the strikeout with the bases loaded was Dickinson in the 8th. My apologies. So anyway, point being, I think the lineup change clearly worked. And sometimes you can play a hunch, and I know I referenced it all throughout the day. In the national championship game against Florida in 2023, Jay Johnson batted Cade Beloso leadoff. I think that was the first time, and if I remember correctly, Cade Beloso batted leadoff his entire career. And in his last game, Jay did that. Sometimes guys play a hunch. Sometimes it's a matchup. You need to shake things up. In this situation, it was a win or go home, and made a decision, rolled with it. And for the most part, I think it clearly worked. Great day for Ethan Frey there in the 2-hole. It'd be interesting to see if they stick with it. The other decision to start Zach Cowan, I tell you all the time, if you have sound logic behind a decision you make, I can live with the result. Starting Zach Cowan, I know it was his first start of the year, but remember, we had seen Casan Evans start 3 times. He was very good in the start against Tennessee, 6 innings, 85 pitches. He had the rough first inning, but steadied after that and threw up 5-0 subsequent. But the next 2 starts against Arkansas and Texas A&M were not good. And that's when they made the decision to go back to the bullpen. And over the last month, we'd really seen Jaden Newt, Chase Shores kind of emerge. So I had no problem with the decision to start Zach Cowan because he's been that. He's a veteran pitcher, was a starter, Friday night guy a year ago. Unfortunately for Cowan, he just didn't have it. I mean, he had a pretty clean first. He did give up a single, but in the second, 4-pitch walk, hit by pitch. This is the sequence in the game in the second where things got wonky. And I know LSU won 10-6, and this is a celebratory mood, and it should be. But we got to talk about what happened in the second inning, because this was just a mismanagement of the sequence, and it was poorly played. Cowan, 4-pitch walk, then hits a guy. So there's 2 on. In this situation, you've gone 4-pitch walk, hit by pitch, 2 on for Cano, their best guy. Hello, the same thing happened yesterday, the day before, when Chase Shores walks the bases loaded. They let him pitch to Cano, and he rips a bases clearing double. How many times are you going to let this guy hurt you? Well, they let Cowan pitch to him, and he hits a tapper to Bear Jones at first. And Jones lets it go foul. Like, for the life of me, for all the conversations we have about bunting, I just want to illustrate this. In that situation, In that situation, if you're LSU, you are glad to take the out. You want to take the out. This is their best hitter, and you have an opportunity to field the ball, tag him out. Yes, it's second and third, but that effectively acts like a bunt for everybody who loves bunting and wants to see that all the time. We're all sitting saying, yes, defensively, we will exchange the out. We'll let you advance for the out because, of course, you want the out in that situation where you've given them 2 base runners, and instead you let it go foul. He swings away, and Cano ropes a single. So the run scores, and now you're in a situation with 2 on, a run's home, and you still have nobody out. Then they do sacrifice bunt to give you the out, which is stupid to do that because you went walk, hit by pitch, RBI single. Why in the world would you give LSU an out in that situation? And then Cowan walks another hitter after that. He walks Wilbanks, and then Seguin, the leadoff kid, singles to right center. 2 more come home. It's 3-1. They go get Casan Evans. You have an E4. It was a throwing error on Dickinson, so it's 4-1. Then they single again, and it's 5-1. And it feels like the world's falling apart. It's crashing around you, and it all goes back to the decision by, I would say, Jones not to field the ball. The dribbler down first base, which is mind-boggling. I mean, it's their best hitter. You have a chance to get their best hitter out, who you haven't gotten out at all. And I think that's one that Jared Jones, thankfully it didn't hurt. It didn't cost LSU a game. But I think that's one Jared Jones in this post-game interview, if he's asked about it, we'll talk about it. One he'll replay in his mind a million times and he'll never do again. You have a chance to get the out. You absolutely take the out right there. The name of the game is get outs. 27 outs, you take the out. And unfortunately, right there, it cost LSU because instead you're sitting there in a situation with Cano out. You're still up 1-0, and it's second and third with 1 out. It's a completely different approach to how the rest of that inning plays out. But all's well that ends well. That was a very poor decision. It was just a mess in the bottom of the second. And again, it felt terrible to leave the bases loaded in the bottom of the third. Jake Brown worked great at bat. It was a full count, and then he flew out to left field. Hat tipped, the kid made a pitch. Brown missed it. He flew out to left field. And then finally in the fourth, like we talked about, you came through with a big hit. When Frey, bases loaded, comes up with the bases clearing double to pull you within 5-4. And that's at the point of the game where Casan Evans took over. That's when, going into the bottom of the fourth, Evans would strike out 9 consecutive hitters. In the midst of that, Hernandez would homer in the bottom of the 6th to tie it at 5. You took the lead in the 6th when you let off with the. You took the lead in the 6th when you let off with the double. It was in the 7th. Forgive me. You took the lead in the 7th when Frey let off with the double. The wild pitch allowed him to get to third. Milam had the RBI ground out to short. And then you had a chance too because Brown came up with a 2-out single, and that's when he stole second. They threw the ball in the center field. He went to third, and you had Jones up, and Jones struck out with a chance to get Jake Brown home when you're already up 6-5. Hernandez would add to the lead with the homer in the 8th to get to 7-5, and then obviously we know how it went in the 9th. A couple of other big decisions. The decision to go to Anthony Ianson, loved it, tweeted about it. I tweeted about it when, well, I'll read the tweet exactly. Ianson was at 56 pitches, and it was, Evans was at 56 pitches. I tweeted, Evans looking strong at 56 pitches in a 1-run game. This was when you were down 5-4. Excuse me. And I tweeted, how much longer can he go? If it's close, this is when you had taken the lead 6-5. This was in the 7th. Said, how much longer can he go? And who is next? If it's close, wouldn't be surprised if Jay went to Ianson. That said, would love to see the offense explode. So not to need to play that card. Actually, it was probably when LSU was still down 5-4 when I tweeted that, because that was when Evans struck out the side in the 5th and the 6th. But in any event, the decision to go to Ianson was the right one. Clearly, He was on 2 days rest. It effectively was a bullpen day for him, and Ianson needed 20 pitches. He needed 20 pitches to give you an inning and 2/3. So he got you out of the 8th with a strikeout and a ground out, and then he got him up and down in order in the 9th very quickly. Strikeout, ground out, strikeout, and you're out of it. So that should not prevent Ianson from being able to throw and take his normal turn. I don't know if they have yet decided when LSU is going to play in the Supers. I would certainly hope that LSU would get a Saturday, Sunday, Monday Super as opposed to a Friday, Saturday, Sunday Super, considering they had to play Monday. But we've seen this before where LSU's played on Monday and had to play a Friday, Saturday, Sunday Super anyway. So we'll see what it's going to amount to TV and what matchups they want, what times. I just checked LSU's Twitter. I don't see it there. If somebody does see it, when LSU will play, please let me know. Drop it in the comments. Forgive me, I'm doing this live. This is live. I'm trying to find a seat because I know I'm going to be asked. LSU play West Virginia. Yeah, it has not been decided yet. Okay, it has not been decided yet. But either way, if it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Saturday, Sunday, Monday, either way, Ianson will be good to go on his day. So if he has to pitch Saturday, throwing 20 pitches today in a glorified bullpen gives him Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 4 full days of rest from that to pitch on Saturday. I think no worries at all for Ianson to be able to throw on Saturday or on Sunday, whichever they ultimately get. Let's see. The only other thing I'll tell you, there's 2 things. And again, this is probably going to feel nitpicky, but just for the sake of talking about it, because we do. I know we talk a lot about bunting. I'm not sure of this, but I hate the fake bunt thing that LSU does all the time when they square. And I really hate when they actually do bunt. But in the 9th, Hernandez in the 9th squared to bunt and didn't get the bunt down. And then they took the bunt off and he singled and LSU went up 10-6. Hernandez has 2 home runs in this game. Why in the hell is Hernandez bunting? Why? Why would you ever ask Luis Hernandez in this situation to bunt? Yeah. Anyway. And then the only time it got hairy after LSU took the lead, remember, it's 7-5. Evans is cruising. In the 8th, they sent Evans back out there, which I didn't love. I actually didn't love letting Evans pitch after loading the bases in the 7th. I think Ianson was ready. They should have gone and gotten him. Nonetheless, he got the strikeout, exhale. Sending him back out there for the 8th, I thought was a very questionable at best decision. And they went single fielder's choice. And then went and got Ianson. And Ianson gave up the RBI single. This is another pet peeve, and I am very much looking forward to having Terrio in studio on AFR Friday because I want to talk about this. That was a tailor-made ground ball double play. Go back and watch it. 100 times out of 100, that is a 6-4-3 double play. But you had your cockamamie shading on because that's what they do. And that ball rolled into center field and it became an RBI single. And now you're biting your fingernails because it's 7-6 and they got 2 men on. Now, thankfully, Ianson after that goes strikeout, ground out, and you get out of it. And Ianson's awesome. I love it. But maybe, and I'll admit to this to you, maybe this is just confirmation bias. Maybe it's just one of those things where I go, I don't like all the shifts. And so when it doesn't work, I point it out. I know a lot of people do this with a lot of the conversation we have, bunting or Jones' struggles or whatever. Or whatever in any sport, right? We all do it. I do it. We all do it. It's confirmation bias. You look for the thing that supports your argument, then you point out, I see, and then you ignore when it goes the other way. So there's probably times where the defensive shifts and shading works for LSU. But when it doesn't, and it's very clear in a situation like that, it is annoying. That's my only other point. Okay. I'm certain a lot of you want to know about West Virginia. So let's talk about West Virginia. LSU beats Little Rock 10-6. Hat tip to Chris Curry and the Little Rock Trojans. What a story they were. I am thrilled that it did not end well for them, because that meant it would have ended very poorly for LSU. And I'm thrilled also that whoever runs the Little Rock Twitter account is gone, because they were getting a little chirpy in my mentions today. But in all seriousness, Chris Curry was super warm and engaging in the interview he did with us. Very easy team to pull for. Just not when they're playing LSU. So I think Little Rock probably gained a lot of fans this weekend, but certainly not when they're playing LSU. And I'm thrilled that they're going home and LSU is going on to play West Virginia, which we'll talk about right now. Okay, so we don't know yet if it's going to be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Saturday, Sunday, Monday Super Regional. As of right now, it's 12:20 a.m. as we're doing this. There's 1,800 souls watching, and God bless, I love you all. So West Virginia, give you a little bit of the thumbnail on WVU. They are 44-19. You win 44 games, you have my attention. They were 19-9 in the Big 12 this year, and they do have a pretty solid starting rotation. They rely on small ball and pitching. I'll get to the offense in a second. Let's start with the pitchers. Their Friday guy is Griffin Kern. Griffin Kern has a 3.13 ERA. He has 100 strikeouts in 95 innings pitched. He's their guy. He has started 16 times this year, and he has a 3.13 ERA. Again, 100 strikeouts to just 29 walks. Griffin Kern is their Friday guy. That's who you are most likely going to see paired up against Cade Anderson on Friday, Saturday, on game one of the Super Regional. Their number two is Gavin Van Kempen. He has started 13 times this year. His ERA is north of 6, a 6.13 ERA. I mean, he's way down the list on their ERA. Now, he has started 13 times this year, but he only has 39 innings pitched. So likely treating him more as an opener. He's got 37 strikeouts in those 39 innings pitched, but here's the problem. He's got 26 walks. So opponents batting .261 against him, and he's their number two. The best arm they have statistically after Griffin Kern is Jack Kartsonis, who actually leads the team with a 2.94 ERA. He's their number three. That's at least how they did it at the end of the season. Kern, Van Kempen, Kartsonis, games 1, 2, 3. Kartsonis has a 2.94 ERA. He's thrown 64 innings. He's made 8 starts, 19 appearances, but 8 starts. But he's been the number 3 of late. 64 innings pitched, 76 strikeouts in 64 innings pitched. So more than a strikeout per innings pitched, and leads the team among their starters with a 2.94 ERA, among qualifiers, I should say, with a 2.94 ERA. So those are the pitchers that are going to lead the way. And they've got, I mean, I'm looking at the roster here, they got like 20 dudes that throw for them. I mean, it's a lot of arms. Offensively, they hit 299 as a team, which is solid. Sam White has a 352 batting average. Kyle West at 347. Armani Guzman at 337. And you got a couple of other guys. Jace Reinhardt at 317. Chase Swain at 313. But this is the kicker. And this is where I think the matchup favors LSU. So on the season, West Virginia has 55 home runs. They are not a power hitting team. They have 55 home runs in 58 games played. By contrast, really quickly, LSU homered 4 times tonight, right? So LSU came into this game. Give me 1 second while this loads. LSU came into this game with 93 homers. They homered 4 times tonight. So LSU has 97 homers. And remember, this isn't a super powerful offensive LSU team. Like, they're not mashing homers. They have 97. West Virginia's got 55. So just about half the number of home runs, thereabouts, that LSU has. So not a real powerful offense. As a matter of fact, their home run leader is Kyle West, who has 10. He's the only one with double-digit homers on the season. But they have stolen 108 bases, West Virginia has. They've stolen 108 bases in 141 attempts. LSU, which, remember, this is a year where LSU is quote-unquote run a lot. LSU has 68 stolen base attempts. They're 50 of 68. They've attempted 140, okay? So if you think LSU runs a lot, they run twice as much. So West Virginia is a get them on, get them over, get them in type team. They're not going to mash the baseball, but they're going to try to create havoc on the base paths. I said it's a favorable matchup for LSU because this is an elite fielding LSU team. This is an elite defensive team with a .982 fielding percentage. I like LSU defensively in a series like this where you have a team that's going to try to put pressure on you, with their offense, going to try to put pressure on your defense. LSU's defense is good enough to hold up. So I love that matchup. LSU is going to be a prohibitive favorite. You've got Cade Anderson and Anthony Einson in games 1 and 2, and you've got a pitching staff from West Virginia that isn't going to present an overpowering arm, but they swept their way through the Clemson Regional. They beat Kentucky, came back, beat Clemson in the Marble game, then rallied to beat Kentucky 13-12 in the championship game on Sunday night. I think we were all kind of hoping we were going to see it flip, where LSU would have taken care of business on Sunday and West Virginia would have had to play Monday against Kentucky. In the end, it was a reverse, where LSU ended up come back and play Little Rock on Monday, and West Virginia sewed things up on Sunday evening there in Clemson. But we now know it's set. Remember, this is the matchup we were going to see a year ago. We were going to see, if LSU had not blown the save against North Carolina and LSU had won the Chapel Hill Regional, LSU was going to be at home for Supers against West Virginia, and now we're going to see it a year later. So LSU, West Virginia, Supers, best 2 out of 3 with Omaha on the line, and y'all, you got Anderson and Einson to go win a weekend. I mean, you're at home with Cade Anderson, Anthony Einson. You're at home where you didn't lose a weekend all year. So do this weekend what you've done all year, win a weekend at home, and you're going to Omaha. And you can see if you can set it up with Anderson and Einson to play you through a winner's bracket and see if you can go win a national championship. A lot of things to be encouraged about. Bear Jones with a nice offensive day with a couple of knocks, including a bomb. Ethan Frey was absolutely in fuego, on base all 6 times, 4 for 4 in this ball game. 2 homers by Luis Hernandez. And don't look now, but Stephen Milam all of a sudden has gotten pretty hot. Milam in this ball game, I don't think he had a lot to show for it, but he hit the ball hard. Milam was 0 for 5. He did walk, and he had an RBI on the sac fly, but on the RBI ground out. But he hit the ball hard, and even though then a hit to show for it, Milam's got his average up to 285, and he's coming. So a lot to like about the way LSU showed resilience. I don't love that they got behind, and I'm not ignoring the warts because this team has them, but the guys they count on, you can tell. Anderson, Einson, Evans. We could have a real question about if we can count on Zach Cowan right now. But the guys you count on have been really good. Can you get into advantageous situations where you can lean on them so you can count on them? Newt, Shores, Myers, they'll all have to be better than they were at points this weekend, but they've all been good enough at times this year to get you through a super regional and to the College World Series. Okay, y'all. Let's get out of here. Please smash that like button if you're watching live with us. Subscribe to the channel. Hey, thanks so much for making us your first listen every single day. Now for your second listen, you can go check out the Portal Show. If you want all the latest rumors, portal entries, and signings, be the most informed fan on the rapid changes to the college football landscape. Find the Portal on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Hey, if you are listening on podcasts, please subscribe on your favorite podcast app, rate us, leave a review. If you're on YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video. And let a friend know that if they love the Tigers, we got you every single day for Locked On LSU, your team every day.